I start, obviously, by paying homage and taking refuge in the Buddha, in the Dharma, but particularly as well in this Sangha. And I see this as a Sangha, and I'm honored that you invited me to join you in this Sangha today. So thank you. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, and let me just say a little bit about myself. As I say, I'm Irish. I grew up in Dublin. So I at least have, and I lived in the United States on and off for the last 30 years or so. So I think I have some understanding of what it's like to come from, first of all, a post-colonial country like India, like Ireland, to understand the impact that the British Empire had on all of us, good or bad, but also to recognize what it's like to be an immigrant into this country, and what it's like to live in America, live in a diaspora in that way. So I share that with you as well. And yes, my background, I went to Trinity College Dublin for my undergraduate and my Masters of Arts. And then came to the United States. I initially had a theatre company that I founded and did theatre for a number of years. And then went to law school, to Columbia Law School, which again makes me have this wonderful feeling of being unified with Dr. Ambedkar, because when I heard that he'd gone to Columbia, it obviously made a big connection with me. And the fact he was also, of course, a great lawyer. Yeah, that experience of going to Columbia, going to law school, and then I practiced law for the last 30 years or so. But then I have become increasingly drawn to the Dharma, increasingly drawn to religious and spiritual matters. So I am now at Harvard Divinity School as a scholar there. I'm seeking to be ordained, ultimately. And my research is very much based on Buddhism and increasingly on Dr. Ambedkar. And I'm working on a dissertation at the moment looking at Dr. Ambedkar and his conversion experience. As my great friend Santosh was saying, how important the religious aspect was of Dr. Ambedkar's work. Yes, he was a great lawyer. Yes, he obviously wrote the Constitution. Yes, he had all this wonderful social reform and did so much for the Dalit community and I would say for India and the world. But, you know, that religious drive and how important that was to him is something that I'm working on in my own research. And not just his conversion experience, but my dissertation is looking at his experience, but also here in the United States, the experience of Malcolm X, who, as you probably may know, was obviously a great revolutionary, a great social activist within the African American community. And he, of course, converted to Islam. And his experience of conversion, both initially to the Nation of Islam and then later, after he went on the Hajj and came back, and his whole experience. And so I'm looking at the two of them and sort of comparing and contrasting their experiences and how important for both of them the religious experience was, how deeply meaningful that was in terms of every aspect of their life. So that's what my research is on. And I would like to pick up on what Santosh said about the fact that within each of us is the Buddha, right? The Buddha nature is within each and every one of us. It doesn't matter whether you have a white face, it doesn't matter what race, caste, even religion you are. To my mind, as a Buddhist, the Buddha nature is within each and every one of us, and that is where we come for our liberation. Within. And within that, yes, the Sangha is what allows for that collective liberation. And that's, of course, what, to my mind, Dr. Ambedkar was all about, was the idea of collective liberation. So you have it within, yes, but also amongst. We have to have community. We have to have a Sangha of all people. And I guess that's the other thing I would like to say about Dr. Ambedkar and what I'm interested in personally is how much he had to contribute, not just to the Dalit community, not just to India, but to my mind, to the whole world. Because I think he is one, I believe he was one of the great historical characters. And as Santosh said, he isn't just a character in the past. Yes, he died in 1956, as we know. But he lives on. He lives on in each and every one of us, I believe. And also, again, as a Buddhist, in the present moment is what matters. We are living in the present moment. We must take refuge in the present moment. And Dr. Ambedkar, as Santosh was saying, is in this present moment. And I think he's in this present moment for the whole world community. And I think in this time we need that. With all the conflicts that are going on in the world, with all the division, racial and caste still, and all these issues, we need his wisdom to allow us all to find a way forward. And so I'm deeply grateful that you invite me here. I very much look forward to meeting you over the next day or so and getting to know you all. And so thank you. Thank you for making time. I appreciate it.